Hi, everyone. This is Julie from Patchworks, and we are here tonight talking about and working with the Butterfly 2 quilt. So, that is a fun little quilt that we have been talking about and started. I'm just going to put a link here for you so that if you had wanted to see that pattern, it is a really fun quilt, and we've been working through the blocks. So we've shown you how to make the intersection block, which is the very, very first block. And while people hop in, I just wanted to share a couple things about some of the feedback that we have. So we do have the kits back in stock for this. So that has everything you need to make these beautiful blocks just as Tula designed it. And as a reminder, this quilt finishes an ample 88 by 94. Yes, it's super beautiful. So hi to everyone who's hopping in. One of the things that I have seen is that people are confused about what the color of this background is. So if we kind of look at it, the printed cover looks like it is a little bit blue. And I just wanted to share that that is indeed the whimsy background, which is that sort of mint color. And the top border is a coordinating fairy dust. Now, I am super excited because if you watch social media and you've seen different things, Tula is announcing what fabrics is going to be out. Oh my goodness, like next spring. So that's so crazy that we're thinking about next spring already. But I want to show you, for those of you that think that the whimsy and mint color are too much, check this out. We are going to have a fairy dust with white. So not a fairy dust with cream, a fairy dust with crisp white. So that is going to be super cool. That's first next April, but you would first need it to finish everything off here. And you know, what is it? It's October now. This is a giant sampler. So if you had wanted to, you could swap out a stark white and then put in that fairy dust with white, if that was something that appealed to you a little bit more. I think it's super awesome as is, but I was really excited because, well, you know, sometimes you just want to make it your own. So what we're going to do tonight, now that we have a few people jumping on, is that I'm going to go over to the other side of our little setup here, and we're going to talk about the fabrics that we're going to be using for our next block. So we are going to be making chunky cross, okay? So chunky cross are the blocks that appear right here, okay? So it is a really chunky little block that is, well, like a plus sign, okay? So it is another one of these blocks that we have to make 10 blocks. So 2 each of 5 different color combinations. And sometimes it's a little bit tricky deciphering what fabrics we need to use. And so I thought I would show you what we have. All right. So I'm going to, let's see if this is going to work today. And welcome to everyone who's jumped in. And don't worry, no one is late to the party. And thank you so much for joining me today rather than yesterday. We're doing our best to get in here and do all of the sewing and see how we can play along. So let's see. I'm just going to scroll this down here. All right. So let me know if you have any challenges hearing me. I am over here. I'm over here now. And we are going to look at the fabrics. So we have 5 different color combinations, and I went ahead and got started, and let's see if I can show you here where we have everything. Might have to adjust this camera just a little bit. So I copied the fabrics, and I think we're upside down here. Okay, so I copied the fabrics that we need for the quilt, and we are going to be using the solid moonflower, the dahlia, the begonia, the amber, pear solid, citrine, lime, agave, delphinium, and celestial. Actually, this looks upside down. I'm just trying to figure out my orientation. Aha, look at that. That's super cool. Ha. All right, so it does show this back. Let me just see if I can change this so that you can see it right side. Okay, we're playing along with this here. Let me just see if doing it as a mirror, you can read it. Let's see. How does that look? Huh. So then that is that way. Aha. Okay. Yay. All right. See, we're figuring this all out. So when I'm cutting, we're going to be cutting backwards, but that's all right. You can still see everything that's going on. And I am going to just see if I can move this just a titch for when we're cutting. All right. It's all a learning process. All right. So this is the celestial, and it is going to be paired with the delphinium here. Beautiful. So this is a deep sort of indigo blue. The orange dot here, this is a giant orange dot, and if you had wanted to, you could also use the new tiny dot that she has. I wanted to stick to the original, which she used. And the amber is the fabric that we're pairing with it. Nice, rich, vibrant colors. But I thought if we wanted to change it up just a little bit, that we could use some of Daydreamer and play with it that way. See how nice? And with this ombre here, you could pull in like right here, and that is a very similar read value here to this amber fabric. I know Linda, who is making this quilt, she's using a combination of fabrics that she has been collecting over the past couple years from us. And if you had wanted help substituting out some fabrics and having us help you pick out your fabrics every month, please, 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 by all means, come on in and we can help you pair up the true colors or use the feature fabrics in order to get more customized look. For our pair, we are going to be pairing the pair with our, nope, we're not doing that one with that one. We are pairing the agave with the lime fairy dust. And then we're going to be doing with the citrine, we'll be pairing the pear, and with moonflower. So moonflower is a gorgeous solid, and we'll be pairing it with the dahlia. All right, so I cut out our centerpieces already. Okay, and remember that we're making 2 of each. Okay, so that means that we need double the amount, right? So we're going to be cutting now our back fabrics. So now that we have picked out the ones that we are going to be doing the background, we can be crazy. Okay, we're going to be crazy. And I know that we had a little bit of a challenge last week that, or the last time that we cut, that I kind of just went crazy and I miscut some things. So what I did is I cut all of my fabric ones. So the fabric ones are the center parts, and the 5 fabrics that are still whole are the fabric 2s. So what I'm going to do is I am actually going to stack, because I'm going to show you again how I stack, and then we will cut. Once again, I can't give you all of the exact measurements, but I want to share the methodology that I use. Okay, so I am working, as a reminder, with different size pieces. So it's not the size from the kits. I happen to have quite a stash of basics, so I am using those. And they match the fabrics in the kit. I just thought it was more efficient to share with you how you can simply use what you have available. Okay, so I'm just going to do 3 and then we can cut these other 2. Sound good? I know if Renee's watching, Renee's probably just fine with me not going completely crazy, because Renee likes to, she pointed out that it's more fun to more purposefully cut. So have any of you been working on your blocks? I'm just going to see if I can position this so that we can see it a little bit better. And I'm in my comfy pants here, so I apologize if I look a little crazy. Comfy pants. All right, so we're going to straighten this up. And straightening it up, I'm going to use my Big Daddy ruler. Over the past couple weeks, I've gotten some feedback. How many of you would be interested in having our Patchworks rulers, just a video on how I use Patchworks rulers that is not necessarily tied to any particular quilt? Is anybody interested in that? Let me know. And I'm going to make the corners and the side. And I probably should figure out how to put this somewhere so that I can read it. There we go. Hopefully I'm not wiggling everything. All right, here we go. Anybody piecing along with me tonight? Or you just have me on as some background noise? Oh, cool, Sharon and Sandry. Love, love, love that you are interested in a ruler video. Super cool. All right, so keep in mind when I have, so I cut 3 different colors here, okay? And then they're doubled. So that means every subcut that I'm making, I'm going to be getting 2 out of it, okay? So if I need 4 units for 1 block, that means I'll make 2 cuts. And then if I need for 2 blocks, well, then that means that I'm going to be cutting a total of 4 times. So let's do this, and then the second cut, even though this is kind of, I'll try to get it out of the other one. It's easier to do it this way. So notice I'm walking my fingers up as I do that. And I also like to make straight cuts. I don't necessarily like to just cut out squares from that piece of fabric. Oh, Renee, I'm so excited that your first set of blocks is almost complete. Now, for those of you who have just been super, super eager and have been wanting to work on it, if you totally go ahead, I am fine with that, and my feelings will not be hurt. I know that we're going at sort of a slower pace that's really not too taxing. And I just want to make sure that everyone has fun. And as we kind of had explained earlier on, that the point of me sewing in this capacity was to really be sewing the sample along with sewing with you. So kind of fun, different way of doing things. A little bit less of a tutorial per se than just having fun and hanging out with you and getting some work done, right? All right, I have my squares for this done. So there, and we'll separate them after. We'll separate them after I have my other parts cut. I need to make my straight cut here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the first cut here. Do that right? No. No. Get it out of there. I did. Ah. Ian, thanks for joining us. I need to add it so that I can bring you guys in. What am I doing here? What am I doing here, guys? You don't know. You can't see what I'm doing. You're saying, Julie, you're doing all sorts of crazy things. Okay, so I'm just going to look here. I should probably make much bigger notes for my cutting for myself so that I'm doing things a little bit more proficient. Ah. Tiny. Tiny, tiny, tiny. All right, so you can see here, we'll split these out. Three different colors that we did right away. And going to be our four sides to our block. Four sides. I like to starch my fabrics ahead of time. I had done those, so that's because in real time it can be a little quick. So you can see how it is all laid out. Look at that. Doesn't that look cool? Probably should have a better backdrop in the corner over there. I leave that little video or that little side up so that you can still hear me, because otherwise you couldn't hear me. So how this is going to work is that this goes together here. Here. Ooh. Ah. It's all coming together. Crazy dots here with the fairy dust and the beautiful purples here. Okay, so now we have 2 more to go, and I am just going to slide on here. If you have a little design board to transfer, that can be super helpful. And we're going to be able to, since we'll have all of these cut, we'll be able to do some chain stitching where we're sewing things together and continuously working on multiple units with our leader and ender concept. Remember I was talking about, or maybe you don't remember, I was talking about leaders and enders last time. And I was saying that it can be really helpful if you have multiple blocks going on, as long as you're able to stay a little bit organized so that you can continue working on things and be a little bit more efficient in your piecing. So I'll put those pieces over to the end, and then we're going to pair up our last 2 combinations, and that will be with our, what do you think? Who's watching? Should I use this one or should I use our Daydreamer? What do you think? What do you think? What's the vote? Anybody have an opinion? Should we use this one or this one? I'll cut my lime first so that if anybody had an opinion, you could chime in. Ooh. So Nancy, you're saying so Linda wants me to use the minerals, and then do you want me to use, Nancy, this one? And if so, then I need someone else to be so Nancy wants to use the darker. So you want to have the darker one. Okay. And then we need a tiebreaker. So who wants me to do something? Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to cut my lime first. So this is our fabric 2 cut again that we're going to be cutting. Darker, darker. Oh my goodness, I guess I'm going darker. So I'm cutting my fabric 2 on my lime first. And I am going to make my first cut. And I am cutting double again. Probably should have cut that second strip right away, right? That's what you're thinking. Like, Julie, you're supposed to cut it. Supposed to cut both to be more efficient. 2, 3. I'm going to cut my 4th. And if I chop this up, can't really get that much out. Very carefully reline this up. I think I got it, so I don't have to make another straight cut. You know, you just have to make that judgment call if it makes sense to make another straight cut or if you can get away with just lining stuff up. And especially, I find that if you're starching things, you can get away with things. This one, and then right here. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to just put this in the little Dump bucket back there. Oops, knocking everything over. Last piece, I am going to, we voted, and we are going to go with this guy here. And I think that'll be kind of fun. Let's see here. We only are going to cut into part of it. Let's see here. And this is the really cool thing about the ombre fabrics, whether they're Tula's or someone else's, that you can take one piece of fabric and choose or turn it into different fabric. Okay, so let's see here. Where do we think? Where do we think? Here? We like that? Ooh, Denise wants the minerals. So what I'm actually going to do for those of you that like the minerals is I'm going to make both. I'm going to make this one on screen and then I'll make the minerals off screen, and we'll be able to take a vote on when we're putting the units together with what we like. How does that sound? Or even just when we're laying things out so you can see what different things look like. But for the sample for the store, people probably want to see it just as is. So I'm going to take this swath right here. I think that's pretty interesting. So this is what we're going to take. And I'm going to make my straight cut here. I'm going to flip it around. And cut it this way so that I can get both things out. Dun, dun, dun. I'm being crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Chop this tighter. My little strips. And then we're going to be ready to sew. How exciting is that? Super, super, super exciting. Okay, so I'm going to bring my little design board back over because you'll see here this. I cut enough? Do I need to cut more? Here. Ooh, and then with our lime. It's so fun. It's so fun seeing these come together. Okay. So as I'm sewing these together, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to pair these together and these together, okay? And then I'm going to sew this onto one side of that, and then we'll sew that onto one side of that. How does that sound? All right, so let me see if we can kind of scoot over to the sewing machine there. I'm going to reposition so that we can see things a little better. How does that sound? Sounds exciting. All right. I need to have you guys piped in so that we can hear, everything. Wouldn't that be fun if you could just like call in, like a call-in talk show? That'd be fun. A call-in talk show. I love it. All right, so now it's coming over. Seeing if we can position the camera to see us. So maybe we'll have it there. I know that's kind of weird, but that way I can kind of show you stuff as we're looking this way too. All right. Oh, a Zoom call. Huh. I should look at the Zoom. How many of you Zoom? How many of you Zoom? Can you Zoom? So I guess I just need to learn how to Zoom. Let's see here. How's that? Linda Zooms. Nancy Zooms. We'll go like this. How does that sound? Is this better? So I'm going to sew my parts together. So this to that. It's still going to have that piece of craziness go through. All right, so we can see. So how does the sewing machine sound? Is it crazy? All right. So let's go sew these pairs together. Lining them up. And when I have these tiny little pieces, and I actually don't pin these, I just sew. I have to work on the glare here that's coming from the machine. Yeah, so I actually was going to have a Zoom meeting today, and I think they decreased it down to 40 minutes. People were doing the hour, and so, and then the other thing too is I think I can still take my Zoom and put it out there in the world, but yeah, these sewing parties might be much more fun, a little bit more interactive. So I'll have to check that out because it'd be fun. And even if we try for the first time or so with the free version and then make sure we can make it happen and go longer, that could be good. And that way you guys can show me and we can troubleshoot if people are having problems with anything along the way. So then we have that combination there, the delphinium and the moonflower. So pretty. And we'll have that celestial. The celestial, oh wait, the delphinium is the blue. I'm sorry, the blue. The dahlia was that purple one. Oh, and I lost one. I have to find it. Here it is. So this is what I like to do when I piece, that I just keep going and going and going rather than stop along the way to cut each piece. I actually don't use my automatic thread cutter much at all. I'm going to hop over and do my big chunk here because I want to, at the end, do in between those two, I want to put the other side on. Okay. Oh, and Nancy says Zoom can be recorded. And actually, what I think I can do is for the Zoom, I'm actually able to hook it into how I do my other kind of video. It's added, I'm able to add a source. So we could even, depending on how we wanted to do it, we could even, we might not want to, but we potentially would be able to integrate it so it could be Zoom and live. That's actually how we do some of our sales calls with our vendors, like Scott Fortnoff. He has a weekly, calls it Wizzy Wednesday, where he shows us new fabric, tells us all the stuff, and that's how he does it. Would have thought that I was talking to a computer guy yesterday about our network at the store, and he just said, you know, whether you're a retail quilt shop or, you know, a big law firm, everyone's become a technology firm, and that is the truth. But yeah, we can Zoom and can drink coffee together or wine, share some stuff. Just going together like candy tonight. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Candy. I have to work on a little backdrop here for my little sewing area at home. Make it look more exciting. All right, so I've sewn my first set, okay? I've sewn my first set of these guys here. Then I continued with my middle row, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew my bottom set here, okay? Bottom set. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect my middle section so I can put my side on the other side. Does that make sense? Okay, so just showing you how it is that I make things when I make it, that I just try to figure out how to keep it going, keeping that chain going, cutting the units apart as infrequently as possible. Oops, got to turn the phone off here. Gotta turn the phone off. All right. It's kind of that weird catch-22 about having the phone near you because the first time I had done it, and that's making noise. First time I had done that, one of the ladies was able to text me to let me know that something wasn't going right, which can be very, 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 very helpful. Very, very helpful. So I'm actually pretty excited about when we have these little sew nights because do you know what's super exciting? Frank helps with dinner. It's great. So we left the store a little bit early so we could get all set up, and then I popped some dinner in the oven, and then he let me know when it was ready, and then cleaned it all up. So, ah, maybe we're just gonna have to sew with you guys every night. So, yeah, way to go, great. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, one more, one more, one more. Okay, so this is the last of the two strip from the bottom unit. And then what we're gonna do is I'm taking my chain, okay, and I'm cutting that middle section here, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the other side. And the cool thing is because I left it all chained, I have my order still the same, okay? So I know a bunch of you probably already do this, but some of you may not, and that's why I wanted to share that with you. Now, because I'm not disconnecting this, I'm actually going to flip it so that I can sew the last one first, okay? And so I'm going to flip my stack so that I'm sewing the blue on the blue, okay? Put it over here, and I want to make sure, just in case if this stack dumped or whatever, that in this particular case, that I'm matching, okay? But I didn't cut anything apart. I didn't iron anything yet. Just sewing, powering. We're powering through it. Power. Powering through. So has anyone seen the Tula videos and what she's doing with her neon fabrics that are coming out this spring? Oh my gosh, the neons, they're so bright. Oh, it got a little twisted here. So it's really interesting. I'll have to share her post to our group, she talked about how, because I was really interested in the color choice or the backgrounds for the neons being the really subdued neutrals. Hi, Sandy and Pam. Oh, Fran. Yes, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fabrics. And, I just love hearing her talk about them, having it just shown in a catalog. I don't even look when I see her new releases until I hear it from her. Back when they were first released at market, everyone would just jam into these schoolhouse rooms, they were called schoolhouse sessions, and listen to her story tell and share the origin story of her fabric and share some cool projects. And I really enjoy how she's broken that down, not only for us, but for all of you. And that's really where, sometimes the fabric patterns are pretty out there, but it's so amazing when you hear the origin stories. And then, like, back several years ago, there was that line called Monkey Wrench, and there was a fabric with banana peels on it. And so it was called Don't Slip. And then the wide back was called Seriously, Don't Slip. And her story behind that was just so, so amazing. And it was really cool to just see all of that. Well, wouldn't you know that we went ahead and we got all those units stitched. Oh, super exciting. So I have my little guys here and those guys there. What I'm going to do is, well, I guess should we hop over to the ironing board? Why not? Let's hop over to the ironing board. Okay, and then what we'll be able to do is after we go to the ironing board, we'll be able to put these guys on, okay, on the corners, and then we'll be able to sew stuff together, sew our things together. All right. All right, let's flip us around. Maybe. Maybe. Oops. I lost us. I lost us. I was too aggressive. I was too aggressive. There we go. All right. See, I'm trying to be all pretty here in the corner. Pay no attention to the craziness in the corner. There we go. All right. So here we are. And these are beautiful fabrics that we've been using. So look at the fun thread. All right. So what we're going to do here is press some units. So I have my necklace here of all of my units that I've done. And when I press, I typically press open, okay? Let's see. Oh no. My iron turned off. I was talking too long. So let's see if we can wake it back up. Wake up, little iron, wake up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut these guys apart. And you can either cut them with a scissor. A lot of times I simply cut them apart like this with a seam ripper. If you had and this would be the same as if you had a chain separator guy. It's probably a technical term for the chain separating thing. To see me in my comfy pants. I figure we're in the sewing room, hanging out. We should have comfy pants on. That's what I do. The first thing that I come home is I put on my comfy pants. And we'll have to figure out, oh, guillotine. Yes, 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 Carrie. That's totally what I need. What I like to do, and so I'm sharing with you, even though we are in a sort of modified set, I do like to get up and press, because otherwise, you see how I just, chain, 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 chain. If I don't get up, it could be hours in between. And really, it's important to, move your legs and move around. So even though it's not a ton of movement, getting up, I find is really, really helpful. So I highly encourage you to do that. And I'm doing this in the same order here when I'm taking them off. So this is one of those things that you could make your judgment call. So this is let's see here. This is, work on my focus here. Okay, so this is that big dot. And Tula does have a tiny dot of this particular one. And so this one could be interesting to have the tiny dot instead of the big dot for a unit this small. And the colors are exactly the same. Keep in mind when Butterfly 2.0 pattern was released that the tiny dots and tiny stripes were not part of the fabric catalog. So let's come back. All right. We'll figure this all out. We'll figure it all out. I just think I need 85 cameras because that'd be more fun. Then you could get me at every single angle. Because you want to see what we have going on. So we had special guest at the store last week, Teresa Coates, and she needed a sew day at the store. And so I brought my big board and my iron that I have here to the store for her to use, and I forgot to bring it back here. So I actually just called over. I'm really lucky that I live close to my sister. I called her up and I said, Kathy, I need your iron. And she's like, what? And I said, yep. I said, I'm going live. I'm going live. I need your ironing board. So good thing my sister has quilting supplies and likes to share. So if she happens to be watching, thank you so much, Kathy, for sharing your iron today. And it's a Black & Decker that happens to be a hot pink, so it could be a Tula pink iron, even though it's not really a Tula pink. All right, so what other exciting things are happening? So I happen to have I happen to be able to see the comments from what you're doing. So does anybody have any questions while I'm pressing? I don't know. No questions? That's all right. Tomorrow we have our Free Spirit Club. I have some exciting stuff to show you. Exciting. So I'm just going to press these guys here. We won't press the centers. And then what we'll do is that I'm going to sew together one whole unit, and then for those of you that want to hang out while I finish the blocks, great. But for those of you that need to scoot, you can at least have seen one whole unit being put together. Sound good? Right. So let's see, what color do we want to do? It really doesn't matter, does it? It does not. It matters not. I think we're going to do a citrine and pear because those are at the top. So okay, so what we're going to do is that I'm going to put the corners on, we're going to focus on this particular one first. You saw how I chain. I'm going to finish one block for you, and then I will continue to chain the rest. Oh. All right, so we have two of these, and I'm just going to use one of my little feeder pieces here again. I probably will use uh, a different color for a leader, just so that we can maximize and don't have to dump anything. Okay, I'm just going to do one of these then. All right, then I'm going to grab my little scissors. Okay. Snip that. Do my other side. These are just so cute. So cute. Okay, so we have that. I'm going to do this as my ender. Okay, right? We're doing the orange. Orange is my ender. Leaving that in. I'm going to go to the ironing board now. So still pressing open. Still pressing open. top, bottom, right? One more side, and then I'll grab one of these. So hopefully by breaking it up like this into these manageable little chunks, it's making this quilt seem a little bit less intimidating. Less intimidating. Okay. Oops. Okay. So now we have our parts. Put this to this. And so we don't have any intersections, which is super nice. So I could pin, but I'm not going to. And this is where, since you have irregular units, we're doing that seam test was really, really helpful to make sure that all of your pieces are going to line up, because all of these units that we're making are going to have to go together into a larger quilt. Right, and I'm going to do another ender here, okay, just from a different piece. Keeping it going. So that's where with my leader ender, I don't necessarily work on two projects. I just work on one project and vary the units that I'm working on. Okay, so that's coming together. I'm going to put the other piece on, making sure that my pear is in the center. Line those up. So cute. Cute, cute, cute. Right. Then ender. Ta-da! Look at that. So you can see here that these go together pretty quick. And now we're just going to make 11 more. So if you wanted to hang out with us, please continue to do that, because I figure why not just hang out? I'll finish stitching these up. And if you wanted to hang out with us, please do. Otherwise, if you have to leave, make sure to tune in tomorrow for our Free Spirit Club. We will be having new fabrics, and we'll be having a drawing as well. So that'll be fun. Okay, so now let's sew some more. All right, so here we go. putting on all these little squares. Thanks, Nancy, for tuning in. Love these little bite-sized chunks. Bye, Linda. Bye, Fran. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Jenny. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you had fun. Wish we could rock out to some tunes, but the broadcasting police would have issue with that. Squares fell off. Thanks. Thanks, Renee. Yeah. I should figure out some fun stories to tell you sewing. So I was up in northern Wisconsin over the weekend and got to see some of the beautiful, beautiful colors. Kind of cool that we're able to have Wisconsin have several different peak seasons for seeing colors. Drop some of my fabrics. So do any of the other people who are watching do Zoom? Would you prefer Zoom if you are watching to be able to better interact with us? And the other thing too, I wanted to show you here. I don't know if you can see, you probably can't see it. I'm not paying attention to how how the lines go. So we're going to have lines going every which way on this. And that is going to be just fine. I am so excited that my little blocks are going to be done. Hopefully you're having a productive night too. Only a few more. One we did already, so I have this one. And then I think I have the two blue that I left at the beginning. Okay, so bring back. Take these two, put them on. Well, this is exciting. Super, super exciting. All right. What am I going to do? I am going to chop here. Okay. And then I'm going to go over to the cutting table or the pressing table. I need a drink of water though. Oh, we have some rock stars hanging out with us for the whole duration, making sure I get my homework done. Making sure I get my homework done. Just stretching my legs and splitting things apart here. Using that seam ripper again. And I love this wide back. Isn't that awesome? I thought this would be the wide back would be a perfect back to the butterfly quilt. So I don't often snag stuff from the store just for me, but I figured I needed to grab some of that ladybug print before it went away. And this is one that's not being reprinted. So if you love it, you really should get it. All right, couple more. And then I'm just going to cut these apart while I'm here so that I can press everything at once. How does that sound? Sounds pretty good. Pretty good. So I think I have some mint chocolate chip ice cream waiting for me after we're done. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Fun treat on an October night. All right. So now I'm going to press this block first. Oh no, it fell asleep again. It's too safe. It's much, much, much too safe. Actually, a good thing. It's a good thing. As Martha would say, it's a good thing. All right. Press, press, press. Try to keep it a little bit organized here for when I put things back together, that it will be easier to put together. So I'm taking my like colors. Taking my like colors and putting those together. And for those of you that are still hanging out, if you had any feedback on if there was a type of sew along that you wanted to see in the upcoming calendar year as we plan everything, let us know. Let us know. Like we're heading towards the finish line here, everyone. Super exciting. Super exciting. And I hope if you are making them at home as well, that you are nearing the finish line yourself. Lime, lime in the coconut. Maybe I should have Frank down here doing my pressing for me. Wouldn't that be fun? I could sew twice as fast. Twice as fast. Make sure as you're finishing your blocks that you post them to our Patchworks Party Facebook group for everybody to see. We love seeing the show and tell. All of that. Counting them down. I'm seeing the bottom of my pressing pile. In there. I can. I think I can. If anybody's tuning in, we are in the second hour, or of working on our block 2 of the butterfly quilt. This is literally me in my sewing room making the quilt, and we do have kits and patterns available. It's not an action-packed episode. It's just a time for us to sew together and be together. Right now, I am pressing the end units here of my block, and then we're going to be sewing them together, and then we will have all 10 of our units of our chunky block all together. Pretty exciting. Tomorrow night, we have our Must Sew TV, which is our weekly program where we show you new fabrics, project inspiration. We'll be featuring Free Spirit fabrics. We have some new fat stacks together that are super yummy. We'll also be previewing the upcoming Moon Garden line, which is Tula's newest fabric, which is scheduled to come in at the end of October. And then taking a glimpse to her Everglow, which is the newest fabric that she is releasing for shop owners to buy, and that will be available in stores next April-ish. So super exciting stuff with that. So there is an addition to her fairy dust. There are some new wide backs, and then she has her brand new line Everglow that has neon in it. Neons. Tulle is not one who is known to be subtle in her color choices. We're getting an unfiltered look at where I sew in the basement of my house. I'm in my comfy pants, hanging out. Yeah, about 6 more pieces to press. And then we're going to go to the sewing machine and finish these blocks. 22 seams remain. When I press, I do press my seams open. I like how everything lays flatter that way. I was mentioning so we did a fabric substitution in this one, and I used the Daydreamer fabric. And I just wanted to share with you here how, oops, you can't really see it. How my lines are every which way, and I'm just fine with that. So just a different way to use the fabric. So feel free always, no matter what kit you use, that you can always make it your own. I think I've shared this story many, many times that one of my first quilt instructors, Phyllis, she always put bunnies in every single quilt that she made because that was her signature fabric. So she collected all sorts of bunny fabric and made sure that she used a secret piece of fabric at least in every single quilt that she made. Okay, 2 more units to press. I'm so excited. Dun, 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 dun. And as I was pressing everything, I was restacking it back in color order to make it a little bit easier for me to chain piece these. Okay, here we go. Have my stack. I'll make sure to bring over my little scissors. I forgot to do that last time. And I'm going to come, and then I'll swap this out here. There we go. So we're going to sacrifice a piece for our chain piecing again. So oh, I could hear Frank upstairs. Did you get to hear him? I think I didn't close the door. That's all. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm chain piecing one side. I'm going to go through all 11 units. I'm lining it up. These are small pieces. I am not using pins here. I may choose to be sad about that later, but for the moment, I'm very happy. And the key thing is you want to make sure your edges line up. They do, so that's good. If your edges don't line up on these units, before you go ahead and just make all of them, you probably want to evaluate what's happening to see if you had issues cutting or if you had issues with your seam allowance, because you want to take care of that issue sooner than later, especially because you have a bunch of different size blocks that are going together for this quilt. And any problems that you have are only going to get exponentially worse. So we were talking earlier today that we're thinking we're going to try out Zoom for this. We can continue to broadcast, but being able to have an interactive option like Zoom where you're able to actually talk to me, show me something, could be interesting. Whether or not you're working on this or simply just want us in your sewing room, I still would invite you, if you had wanted to opt into that Zoom, you would absolutely be welcome. The one thing that we can't do in that Zoom is, since it's not a subscription basis, I still can't actually provide the cutting instructions on this because, well, It's a really detailed pattern, and we have to honor and respect pattern makers, and they worked really hard at designing everything to get it to be just so. So for those 4 purchase patterns, we can't just give away all the trade secrets of all the measurements. We can give you tips and tricks for how to put it together. All right. It's exciting. This is exciting. This is the last piece of the one side. No, you can barely wait. You are super, super excited. Okay, so I'm going to cut. What I'm doing is I'm cutting in between. I'm leaving this last unit on, and I'm cutting the other ones. And what I can do is I'm actually going to leave them all attached. Okay, I'm leaving my string attached, and I'm just going to then feed them in reverse order. Okay. Saves me a step. And if you get tangled, well, then you unclip it. But if you're not getting tangled, you just go, and it is a little bit more efficient. And especially when I'm sample making, I definitely want to enjoy the process, but I want to make sure that I'm as productive as possible to be able to power through. If you had other efficiencies you like to share, let me know. I see the end of the light. I see the end of the tunnel. I see the end of the tunnel. We also got the Tula color thread, the 2835 back in stock, both in the small and large spool. For those of you who are looking for that. Okay, purple ones hidden right there. Got to make sure that they're facing the right way. One more that was left at the beginning. Turn these off. One more seam. One more seam. Say it with me. One more seam. All right. Let's see what we have. Oh my goodness, my hair is just like, okay, so we have this super cute one. Look at this, it's so cute. This one, I'd be curious to see what that tiny dot would look like. So some of these, I might look at just trying a few different options. Ooh, the pretty blue, the delphinium. And then our block that we swapped out that fabric. I'll give it a final press and I will post the picture to share. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in tonight. And you can see that this project really, when you take bite-sized chunks out of it, it goes super quick. So if you didn't see it, let me just quick share. It is the butterfly quilt pattern. It is available in store. We have kits and feel free to use your stash as well. Until next time, happy quilting, and we'll see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock for Must Sew TV featuring Free Spirit Club.